what's on the market.
The activity's probably increased 300%. Now, I'm not talking about sales. What I'm talking about is people are finally out looking at open houses.
Suley credits interest rates under 10%, stable home prices, and most of all, a return of consumer confidence.
During the war, a lot of people were saying maybe we should hold off. We're hearing about a recession, the war, the uncertainty of where we were going with that.
Welcome to the financial section. I'm Bill Flanagan. Today, a strategy for small business and the latest in desktop publishing. But first, war and recession have taken a toll on the nation's housing industry. Last week, builders and realtors heard the first encouraging news in months. Housing starts increased about 16% in February, reversing January's sizable decline. The number is still 1/3 lower than total housing starts in February a year ago. But some economists say it could be one indication that the housing slump is bottoming out. Here with their thoughts about what all this means to the local housing market are Norm Robertson, Chief Economist of Mellon Bank, and Mike Suley, past President of the Greater Pittsburgh Board of Realtors. Good to have you both here. Welcome to the financial section.
Thank you. A lot stronger these days than the rest of the country.
Well, let's go to Pittsburgh a little bit. What are you seeing out there in the trenches, Mike?
Well, we're expecting a boom market for 1991. We've experienced a boom period probably over the last 4.5 years. And I think there may have been mixed messages with national media coverage that said the Northeast real estate market is suffering. But Pittsburgh was the exception to the rule, and it continues to be.
Now, obviously, the war took its toll locally, as it did everywhere else.
I think probably one of the biggest problems was the lack of consumer confidence in purchasing housing. And the numbers, according to the West Penn Multi-List, showed this from September through January of this year, September of 1990 through January. But the numbers are increasing, and it appears that we will have a very good year, healthy year in real estate.
And did the war help?
Absolutely. We've probably seen approximately a 300% increase in activity, not in sales, but in activity. So it appears that during the war there may have been a pent-up demand, and we've been very active.
How about consumer confidence? Is there any indication that it really has turned the corner?
No.
Well, we mentioned debt a little bit. How much are interest rates driving interest right now among potential buyers?
Interest rates, it's probably the first question the buyer asks. What are the interest rates now? And how will this relate to my monthly mortgage payment? That's probably bottom line to a buyer. What will my monthly mortgage payment be?
So you do see that interest then. When they drop down, you begin to really
Absolutely.
Notice it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that becomes the question for the economist then, to look into your crystal ball with the few seconds remaining and tell us, have interest rates bottomed out? Are they going lower? Well, where do you see things headed?
I'm afraid, Bill, that the crystal ball is cracked. But, well, first of all, the fixed rate has come down. I mean, it was 10.5% a little over a year ago. It's now about, 9.5 or less. So rates have come down so that more people can afford a house. I think there may be room for a further modest decline in rates, but we've had such mixed news on the inflation front that, again, I think one has to be cautious about saying that there's going to be a further major decline in interest rates. My guess would be that there is room for a further modest, maybe it's 1/4 point drop in rates, but that, I think, will probably be about the end of the decline, assuming that the economy begins to recover, assuming that this inflation rate remains at something around 4 or 5% and doesn't start to accelerate. If it starts to accelerate again, and it's been doing badly over the last few months, then of course we might not see any further drop in rates at all.
Well, on that note, we'll have to call it a morning. I'd like to thank you both, Mike Suley, Norm
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming by this morning, sharing your
Thank you.
thoughts. Next up, managing a small business through a recession. We'll have some tips when the financial section returns.
Look at just what the #8 best real estate market in the country means for homeowners. Got to mean good news, I would think.
Right, that's to start. It means your investment is doing well. We've heard a lot this past year about sluggish real estate markets, about homeowners across the country being stuck with expensive homes, about homes not being the investment they once were. And although that may well be true, at least here in Pittsburgh, investing in a home looks like it's still a good deal. U.S. News and World Report says our former smokestack city has recuperated nicely from its steel industry blues, with more jobs on the horizon and increasing value in our homes. Here in Pittsburgh last year, the average home sold for $71,284. That same home this year has a $75,541 value. That's an increase of 6%, still under the estimated median home price in the country of $82,287.
Well, they're comparing apples to apples, and what they're saying is Pittsburgh, compared to other cities, over the next year will have a healthy gain in appreciation.
News that comes as no surprise to this homeowner who says her home is already paying off after only 2 years.
Oh yes, we bought it 2 years ago, and I feel that already I could ask a lot more for it than what we paid for it.
The study says the average Pittsburgh homeowner has a household annual income of close to $50,000, has a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 9% with a monthly mortgage payment of $486. That gives Pittsburgh an affordability rate of 12%.
What they're saying is 12% of your monthly gross income will go towards your mortgage payment. That's not including taxes and insurance. That's affordable.
Here in Pittsburgh, that monthly mortgage bite out of your income puts us far behind Oklahoma City with an 8% affordability factor, but far ahead of Honolulu, where 47% of your gross monthly income goes for your home.
So right now is a good time because of the affordability. We have low mortgage interest rates, and the houses will go up 6% a year on the average.
Pittsburgh is moving up on that list, by the way. Last year, Suley says we were rated number 11. This year, we're up to 8. And last year, Money Magazine rated Pittsburgh the second hottest market, predicting as much as a 50% increase in home values over the next 5 years. So even if they're only half right, things are not looking bad for the Pittsburgh real estate market. Paint and maybe some carpeting, but they weren't prepared for this.
I was bringing appliances through here. My foot went through over here.
Your foot went right through the floor?
Well, it had the carpeting, so I didn't go through much, but it went through.
And when John took the ceiling down in his basement,
And there was termites all in through there, live ones.
while showing us the damage, he found more live termites in here, thousands of them, eating away John's house, and he fears his financial future.
Well, I had enough just to get it in shape. Then when I found this, that just blew me out of the water.
He paid $60,000 for a home that contractors tell him has $35,000 to $50,000 worth of structural damage from termites.
How are you going to come up with that kind of funds to repair something that should have been sound to begin with, according to this? According to this, they're not here anymore.
John McNally's pest inspection report, done 1 week before he bought the house, states that although there was visible evidence of previously treated infestation, that infestation was inactive.
If the report says there is evidence of previous infestation, and the alarm should go off, and the buyer should ask more questions.
Realtor Mike Suley suggests the buyer ask the seller if he or she is aware of termites or previous damage, order a property home inspection, and the buyer should be present for all property inspections.
They do more damage than all the fires, all the hurricanes, all the natural devastation in the United States. Termites cause more damage.
Termite damage to American homeowners is estimated at $750 million a year. Although most lenders require pest inspections on homes that are going to be mortgaged or refinanced, pest control companies say that only guarantees that there is no visible evidence of live termites on the day that your home is inspected, not the day after. And not only that, but only about 30% of the home is actually visible to the pest inspectors. So that pest inspection is no guarantee, and you have to move very carefully.
Hope no one is eating dinner because they would have lost their appetite.
Thinking of the
And Denise's data A board, and Michael, you have a brand new board. You're going to show it to us now?
Yes, we are. Here we go.
If you're saving to buy a home, you may have to save a little more, a little longer, just to meet those monthly payments. Our consumer editor, Yvonne Zanos, reports tonight that mortgage rates are going up nationwide, and Pittsburgh is now feeling the effects.
Yeah, Don, and many in the housing industry are surprised. Even after the holidays, real estate brokers, builders, and bankers were predicting a year of stable or slightly lower interest rates. But since January, those mortgage rates have been inching up, and we may not be at the ceiling yet. And the Pittsburgh market, known as one of the most stable housing markets in the country, is rocking just a bit from news that mortgage rates are on the rise. From a local average of 9.5%, soon to 10 and then some, says Mike Suley, president of the Greater Pittsburgh Board of Realtors.
Many lenders are predicting, and I guess I'll make the prediction that they could go up another 0.25% over the next 30 days.
And that's news that makes prospective home buyers skittish.
It makes a big difference. You're looking at it, and every time it would even go up a 1/4 point, it'd make you hurry up, let's look more, let's see what we want to do.
Hoping to lock in today because we're anticipating the interest rates to go up.
And for home buyers, that could be a costly move. The average home in the South Hills is selling for $83,600. The average housing loan is about $70,000 for 30 years. A 9.5% mortgage today means a monthly payment of $589. A 10% mortgage next week means a $614 monthly payment. That 0.5% means $25 more a month, or $9,000 over the life of the mortgage.
The buyer has to make a choice or a decision. Should the buyer purchase less of a home? And generally the buyer doesn't want to do that. So the buyer will generally offer less on the same home they've been looking at.
Traditionally, as soon as interest rates increase, property values stagnate, making Judy Sheets very grateful for the just posted sold sign in her front yard.
Sure it did. We were anxious to sell because we were in turn wanted to buy a new house, and we want the buyers to be able to buy it.
And builders are hoping they can continue to build. Every 1 percentage hike in mortgage rates means 200,000 to 300,000 fewer home sales nationwide. Builders in Pittsburgh are not expected to feel the crunch as much as those in other areas. They say as long as the interest rates don't go above 10, they think the market will remain stable. It's predicted to go higher than that, so you can bet all eyes on those interest rates.
For sure, Yvonne. Thank you. CBS 60 Minutes correspondent Andy Rooney may be back to